down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Down with OTC. Down with OTC.
Yo, are you down with OTC?
Hell
Play
yeah,
that
I'm
one
always
again.
down. Okay. Just kidding. Just doing it. Jeff and I are always dancing in the background. We can see each other, so it's always fun. But yeah, welcome to another amazing edition. And somebody said something in the comments, Jeff, about all this good news, yet the price of XRP. Yes, we understand that. But
up with the price.
There's going to be a day when it isn't, when it's different.
That was Al.
When it's different. So we got a lot going on. Actually, we got some other news as well. I mean, there's a really good story about XDC as well, which I think it's pretty interesting. It's kind of cool to see some other altcoins out there and how they're doing, and it's really nice to see the landscape. Really, I mean, the mass adoption and so much going on. Jeff, let's just get it kicked off and jump right in.
Ripple, XRP, Bitcoin, lawsuits, regulatory clarity. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain with Jeff and Chip.
Man, let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Go, like
DLT.
Right in the timer, man. Nice going. Well done. That's the fastest one ever, I believe. I could be wrong on that.
That was quick, man. It was just like
boom,
we're hanging out. We're like doing the thing, and then it was just like all of a sudden GDLT.
And it was on like Donkey Kong, as they used to say back in the day, Jeff.
And back in the day.
So I thought, why don't we start it off with, gotta say, John Deaton you know, he's doing some amazing things on behalf of everybody. I mean, he's really stepped up. But I thought this was good to sort of share, Jeff. Let's step through this.
Let's do it.
Because it kind of like goes with that earlier comment. It's like about the price, all this great news in the price. But look at John Deaton. He says, why do we fight? I'm sure dozens of critics and legal experts will comment on our motion to intervene in the SEC v. Ripple and try to tear it down. The writ of mandamus was always a long shot and can even be legally described as a Hail Mary. That's not news. Does that mean we don't fight and try to win? Do we say to ourselves, the game's over, I give up? Or do we say, I won't quit until this game is over and throw the Hail Mary? Life and people beat you down if you allow it. Trust me, I've been knocked down hard by life. Thoughts, Jeff? It's a rally cry, man.
Man, it is. It is a rallying cry. You know, Chip and I were talking about this earlier. There are some attorneys in the space that have been kind of lashing out at John Deaton for his choice of how he filed this thing. But you know what? Forget about that. He's a doer. There's doers and there's people who criticize doers. You know, the guys that are criticizing doers, why didn't they get out and do it? If they know so much more and they're so much more in tune with how to file a lawsuit against the SEC on behalf of the investors of XRP and the XRP community at large, but really more than that, the crypto community at large, then why aren't they out there doing it? This guy, man, he's fired up.
Yeah, and at the very least, why not say, "Hey, let me offer a hand. Let me jump in. Hey, listen, let's get together and let's strategize a little bit." I mean, don't sit by the sidelines and just criticize. And I'm not saying what the thoughts are about it, but you could jump in and do it. He says there's one option: get up, fight back. I've always said that if you put me in a ring with Mike Tyson, 3 things will definitely happen. Number 1, I'll step forward. Number 2, I will get knocked the F out. And number 3, if I wake up on wobbly legs, I will try to step forward again. And I like that. That's a never give up sort of a way to look at life. He says the SEC has completely violated its mission to individual investors. The critics can say all they want about Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse. I don't care. I live in the U.S. After 7 years of active duty, I was medically retired from the United States Marine Corps due to a severe back injury. So he's making a case here, Jeff, that he served in the Marines, which is arguably probably one of the toughest branches in the U.S. military, right? Semper Fi. These guys are tough as it gets, and he didn't do it by choice. He was medically retired by a back injury, right?
That's it, man. He's got what it takes to go after these guys. It's tough, man. I mean, think about this is like the pinnacle of a career to go after the SEC and take on this kind of a case, and it's not just, he's definitely, putting a lot into it. Here we go. Here's what I was trying to click. Professor X, he's a lawyer that represents cancer patients. He's gone after a lot of asbestos cases. You don't go on and take on those type of cases if you don't got the, the brass ones to go along with it, man.
The stones.
Yeah,
that's right. He's fighting for people his whole life. That's what his job is. And he says the SEC is my government and it represents me, and what it has done and the way its leaders have acted are morally, ethically, and in my opinion, legally negligent. I believe its actions should not go unchallenged, and whether the executives at Ripple did or didn't do anything wrong changes nothing related to the SEC conduct. So when I filed the writ, I was very aware of our chances of having a judge order the SEC's chairman to amend the complaint to exclude today's XRP owned by holders with no connection to Ripple were very low. He knew it going in, right?
That's it, 100%. Yeah, it's tough, man.
Right. He says, I'm aware of a little thing called separation of powers between the judiciary and the executive branches. I'm also aware that how to change a company in enforcement action is a discretionary act. As I wrote in our motion to intervene, when I filed the writ, I was hoping the SEC would see the damage it had done, come out and provide the market with some clarity. Hester Pierce can go on a YouTube channel. She can say that the SEC is claiming that the way Ripple sells XRP is the issue. Then amend the complaint. So it's not vague, overbroad, or provide clarity so that the exchanges are not worried about being sued by the SEC, instead of publishing risk alerts that make it even more concerning for the market participants. I filed the writ hoping the SEC would have the moral courage and the leadership to acknowledge, and then he goes on, but that's funny, Jeff, those risk alerts.
The risk alerts go up go up to that Hester Pierce. Man, I'm telling you, we were talking about this yesterday. You know, when push comes to shove, she's not there to get anybody's back in the community. You know, she's there to go along, to get along, to be part of, you know, just the agenda. You know, and that's it. Because you're not seeing her trying to convince the other, you know, parties of the SEC to take a stand. She's there, part and parcel of the problem. You know, years and years ago, I remember I was sitting in the gym. I was in the sauna. I'm not going to get into the full story that goes behind this argument and debate that I always have with this guy. Let's just say that he was always on the wrong side of it. But the one thing that he always said, he said, you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You decide which one it's going to be. And I always told him he was part of the problem. But that's besides the point. But this is a good statement to her. You know, she's either part of the solution or she's not, you know, and she's just part and parcel of the problem. And to me, once you go along to get along, you're just another political hack and you're just there, you know, for politics sake. And that's it. You know, you're either fighting the cause. Look at John Deaton. You know, I mean, he's taken this on. He didn't have to take it on, right? He could have just sat back and did nothing, right? He just said, hey, I'm good. But what does he do? He files this case against the SEC. Man, that I'm telling you, that's a true divider of who's who.
Right. Fighting for freedom. And that's why I like this next part so much of what he's saying, because it's right in line with some of the things we've more or less talked about. He says the legal experts can continue to say the writ was so easily dismantled by the SEC and that we'll lose in the Southern District of New York as well. The writ accomplished exactly what it was designed for. Not legally designed for, but strategically utilized for. It demonstrated the hypocrisy of the government's claims. It also demonstrated that the SEC is engaging in regulation by enforcement and in itself confused as how the digital assets fit into our current regulatory framework. Right, Jeff? It's so funny because the way they responded to Deaton's lawsuit was they said something to the effect of, well, you know, there's nothing wrong with the exchange. There are no damages because it's not a security. They didn't say it in those words, but they kind of alluded to the fact that, well, it hasn't been called a security. Okay, right. So they don't know. They don't know a couple weeks back whether it is or not. Then why are they going after Ripple? Why are they going back 7 years and attacking? Why are they not alleging fraud? So there's a lot of stuff that's just wrong with this thing. Thoughts?
It's 100%. I agree. You know, spot on. You know, just everything that you're saying. I just kind of got caught off track here. Look at that, straight out of the Grammy Awards with the bling T-shirt.
Right out of the bling. He's blinging all over the place. You know,
blinging all over the place.
Let's go on. I know it's a little bit long, but I think this is good stuff. The legal experts see the writ as a tree being cut down, but fail to realize that tree isn't the issue. The issue is the forest in which the tree's rooted in. The experts and critics will claim that I'm wasting my time and I'm simply spinning my wheels, going nowhere with the motion to intervene. They'll say the same thing when a class action is filed. And in the end, maybe they'll be correct and maybe we'll lose the motion. And maybe later, a class action is also dismissed on technical and legal grounds. If so, the critics and legal experts will get the tweet, I told you so. Maybe they'll go on a podcast and pat each other on the back, self-congratulate and gloat about their legal acumen, or how XRP investors got duped by the guys from Ripple. But if you read the memorandum of law in support of the motion to intervene or the writ of mandamus, you'll have to agree that the way the SEC's handled XRP specifically and digital assets in general is inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
And if you object, you'll come to the conclusion that even if you despise Ripple or its executives or believe XRP is an S-coin, then you come to that conclusion. But then I ask you, what do we do about it? Just accept it? If decisions were made, what do you say? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't agree with it, but
dude, I mean, this is so much more than about XRP. You know, we've restated it over and over again. If this case goes the other way, it's going to have a detrimental impact on the entire space because it doesn't stop with just one. It keeps going and going and going. It's going to be the gift that just keeps on giving. And this has got to stop. You know, you got to have someone that's going to put it out there and call it for what it is, man. And John has put it out there and he's definitely, calling it for what it is. I like that. I might get knocked out legally speaking, as if he was in the ring with Iron Mike. There you go.
But then he says, I'll get back up and ask when's the next round. In the meantime, what are you doing? Right?
Boom. Look at that. I like that. In the meantime, what are you doing?
Sitting back and watching. And then I put this on there. Keep crushing it, John. The entire XRP community's behind you. We appreciate that you stood up and took this fight head on. Keep leading by example. No surrender. Freedom. If you remember that phenomenal Mel Gibson movie. But yeah, I think that we really have to think, Jungle, you're absolutely right. It's not a security. Jungle says not a security, but that doesn't mean Ripple didn't break security law with their XRP sales. Yeah, but they have to go and prove it. They have to prove it was an investment contract. They have to prove it hits all 4 prongs of the Howey test. That's where I think it might be a little bit on the difficult side. Let's face it. We know that XRP back then wasn't decentralized. We know that Ripple controlled. It wasn't a decentralized asset per se. But also too, they're going back more than 5 years, right? Do they have the right to go back more than 5 years? Not technically. No, not technically. No, not unless they get permission to.
As far as they want.
Yeah, but I mean, look at all the stuff that went down with. I look at everything that went down with Kick and the Kin token, all that ruckus and back and forth, and we're gonna take it to the SEC and blah blah blah. And after a $5 million fine. So what's gonna happen here? A hand slap?
5 million, man, 5 million, and still no clarity as far as retail investors were concerned. So nothing, not one statement as far as, hey, it's a security, but all those retail investors that bought that security, forget about it. We're not commenting on that part of it. It made no comment, nothing, zero.
No, zero.
That made no sense. No sense at all.
It didn't. And so something that Alex from Coin 203 shared, I thought this was a good strategy. I want to talk about this a little bit, Jeff, but I thought this was interesting because he said, hey, something that I did, I go to a bank, open up a savings account, use this account as a crypto-only account. All withdrawals and deposits from crypto exchanges go to this account. This will mitigate any losses if you get hacked. This is the strategy.
Okay.
Once you withdraw it, to immediately move the money to another account. Same with depositing to exchanges. Only move it when ready. This way, if you ever get hacked and someone tries to purchase crypto with your bank account, there's nothing there. Disable overdraft protection. Also, talking to your bank, find a relationship manager, tell them what you do. Notify them prior to any large withdrawals or deposits from crypto. Trust me, this will save you some headaches.
Well, what is he? But he's not referencing hacking for crypto. He's talking about
bank hacks.
If your information gets hacked, they then access your bank account, move your money into crypto. Right. It's a whole different scenario.
It is
versus protecting yourself. But the question is, does that really solve the problem? Because if they, so he's saying just use one bank account for your moves to crypto. That assumption would then be if your crypto exchange gets hacked, they then go back to your bank account. I kind of like the idea though, because, overall, do you want your main account? That's like going and using a debit card. I don't use debit cards, but I want to use a debit card for a purpose. If you use your debit card, that money is coming straight out of your bank account. When I travel overseas, normally it's just, Amex. But if I have to take money out overseas, I have another bank that I put money into specifically for my overseas travel. For similar reason. Sound logic. What do you think, Chip? Did we lose Chip? Did Chip freeze? I think we lost Chip. We lost Chip. All right. So what are we gonna talk about in Chip's absence? The first thing that I wanted to talk about in Chip's absence is let me move this over here. Hang on one second. Let me move this over to the other screen. I think this is an opportune time to bring this up. So I will bring up the shared screen here. Here we go. Let me add it. Perfect. So one of the things that we've been talking about is the OTC on the chain community sponsored meetup, virtual meetup, March 28th, which is a Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. We got the thing set up so you can go and register for it. If you go into the description, you'll find a link to it. We'll be changing that link soon to where it's going to say OTC.1 / probably virtual meetup. We don't have that yet, but you'll get that soon. But check this out. You can go over here And this is where you're going to go to register for the meetup. You can see that it starts in 12 days, 12 hours, 39 minutes, and 15 seconds. We're going to be running it. The way I set it up is that we can run it for about 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So if you go over here, you can register for the event. Once you're registered, it'll go onto your calendar. Super exciting. We can check out the schedule. I kind of set up an interim schedule here. So we've got, first speaker. We'll have a welcome opening session. Oh, he lost internet. Oh my God, he's completely out. So it looks like we're going to be running this until he gets his internet back. Let's see here. Xfinity is out. So check this out. So we're going to set this up. We've got a welcome session followed by a first speaker yet to be announced. Meet the OTC community. That's going to run for 30 minutes. Some of this stuff will be a little bit flexible, but if you guys attended the last one, you're going to be sitting at individual tables virtually, and you can move around amongst the tables. So it's really cool. You get to meet and greet the people. Then we'll bring up the second speaker, speak for a little bit, meet the OTC community, wrap it up. We're going to do a 2-hour virtual meetup. So that's going to be a lot of fun, be super entertaining. Definitely worthwhile. So highly recommend that you guys get set up for that. Let me just shoot a quick text over, see if he wants me to send him and let him log in from the mobile. Let's see. Let's get him on via mobile. Let's see what we can do. Let me see what we can do. Let me stop sharing this real quick. Let me see if I can invite him while we're going through this. We'll see if I can get him on. So this is kind of crazy. These are the types of things that you kind of go through when you're streaming live, or you have bad internet connection, or you're trying to use the old AOL dial-up like Chip does. It doesn't always seem to, pan out exactly as planned. So in the meantime, all right, let's see what kind of comments you guys have, because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about. I like this, Chip with the Starlink. Starlink will be getting to him soon enough. He'll be able to hopefully get his internet on, so to speak. So let's see here. Here's something I wanted to pull up. Let's go to let's pull up some CoinGecko. All right. Oh, look at that. It looks red. Not so exciting to look at. But one of the things that I was going to pull up on the CoinGecko, let me share the screen again. Hang on one second. There's always a purpose behind this. Let's see what we got. Here we go. All right. So one of the things that I was looking at earlier today was BTR. Now, not BitTor. How did I end up with BitTor? Go to BTR. Still brings up the same one. Hang on. Let's try that again. Here we go. I didn't realize there were so many BTRs out there. So the Bitcoin BTR at 37 cents right now. I was looking at this and I was trying to figure out, what exactly has pushed BTR to all-time highs, past 7 days at 223%, past 14 days at 730% gains. For the year, we're looking at 1,800% gain on this. It's blowing up considerably over the past 2 weeks. It went from like 4 cents to like 40 cents, just almost overnight. I don't know. Anyhow, so that is interesting. Here's something else that I thought was like, really, really critical. I don't have all my stuff open here, so now I gotta kind of go through and open some of these things up. Now we kind of get into what's going on within the crypto space in the US. We talk a little bit about what goes on over in other countries. Now, India, for sure, India is one of those countries that we brought up multiple times. India, being kind of this, in my opinion, an epicenter of potential technological boom. Now, India is kind of waffled back and forth from a couple years ago, banning crypto to allowing crypto. Now they're going all the way back. Look at this. India to propose cryptocurrency ban, penalizing miners and traders. Now, didn't we just have somebody that, came from, the treasury or whatever it was? I have to go back and dig up that article that was saying that India won't be banning cryptocurrency. Now, the RBI, their central bank, obviously feels stiff competition as it relates to the digital asset space, cryptocurrency space, especially as they're orchestrating and planning to roll out a CBDC, a digital rupee. Now, the digital rupee, obviously not a cryptocurrency, not out there yet, but check this out. I mean, to me, this is important to look at, especially, as we're looking at the fact that the SEC is going after Ripple, the ramification of what that court case could potentially have on what's going on in the US. Now, when we look over to India, India proposing a law banning cryptocurrencies. Now, why is this significant? If you look at what goes on over in Asia, if you look at the the battle that's being waged right now on a global economic level with China and India, two major powerhouses in terms of population size, in terms of opportunity and potential. And you have China embracing the digital yuan. You have the Chinese initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative, to where they're really looking to dictate and control and kind of orchestrate what's going on in the regional areas, kind of to increase their regional influence. But here's India that could potentially flip the narrative and really put their mark, not just in the Asian region, but globally through development in the cryptocurrency space. What they could do with cryptocurrency digital assets in India could be just phenomenal. However, when you look at it, even in the US, from a political perspective, there's obviously political tension, political turmoil going on between the different entities that are in charge, so to speak. And then you have India, that's getting ready to at least propose a law banning crypto. But check this out. This is to me, it's crazy. Now we have to look and see what other countries are doing, because many times other countries will follow these other countries. But here they want to ban crypto. They want to fine anyone trading in the country or even holding digital assets. Now, this is a senior government official. So they're obviously trying to orchestrate and come after this digital space. Now, why would they do that? Obviously, they see it as a direct competitor to what is happening, over in India, between the RBI, between the government, between crypto. They see it as a direct threat against the corruptive nature that's kind of, built into their financial system. And when you do business over there, or if you're like, Dar Singh. Now, Dar Singh he's saying that India is a terrible country when it comes to this type of stuff. Their leadership is so far down the drain right now. There's no coming back until another party is elected. Now, this is someone that was born in India, coming from India. Now, overall, obviously, there's different sides from a political spectrum. But the one thing that I had seen when I was doing business over in India, and I traveled there often, was that part of the orchestration of business was that they built in a certain percentage of every transaction that had to do with handouts, which were kind of, a mechanism to allow goods to kind of, flow through, as you're doing the transaction. But all of that wasn't just, at the bottom levels. It orchestrated all the way up to the government levels as well. There was a lot of corruption that went on over there, and it was something that over the years, they're definitely combating. Now, here we're seeing the tension, not just in the domestic arena, but now we're seeing it come after the crypto space. Now, why would you want to ban, crypto? Why would you want to take a stance to ban the one technology that is changing what's happening all over the world, especially when we see what's happening over in Japan and other parts of Asia? It just doesn't make any sense. So yes, it will, it's a potential blow to millions of investors that are piling into the red hot asset class. Now, why are they piling in to this asset class over in India? Well, it's for the same reason that they're piling into it everywhere else in the world, because it's a vital, critical, change globally. It doesn't matter what country you're from. The digital asset space, the cryptocurrency space has fundamentally changed everything that is happening. Everything that we think about from a financial economic perspective is being flipped on its head right now. The narrative is being drastically changed from what it used to be. And we're starting to see all of this orchestration taking place, because if you go to the highest levels in banking over in Japan, you're seeing it. If you look at what's happening in here in the U.S., we obviously see what is going on over here, because it's not just, hey, it's all about Bitcoin, but this is all about, again, a global change on how business is being done, because you have Ethereum with the smart contracts, you have Flare with the smart contracts, you have the NFTs that are growing up into this space. You have so much orchestration that's happening both at a banking level and at the financial institutions. You have it at the corporate level, and you have it at the retail level. So it's coming at you from every possible angle. And obviously, this isn't something that's going away. The writing is on the wall that it's here to stay. Now, if you go to, a place like India, where they need this type of advancement, they're investing in the development and change within their infrastructure. They want to be a leader in their region. However, the setback of taking this kind of stance against the digital asset space is going to be extremely, extremely detrimental. I mean, I can't even imagine how detrimental this is going to be to the overall growth of their space. Now, someone here, I'm looking for Chip. Hang on one second. Trying to send him a signal. Here we go. It had to reset itself a couple times over. I'm finally able to send him a text message here. Hang on a second. Who was it? China. It's Kelly. Go up here. Scroll up. Scroll up. Scroll up. Scroll up. Oh, it must have. Oh, here we go. This is from RT. So RT is saying India will not ban crypto. Instead, it will allow Indians to experiment with this new financial internet. India's tech-savvy finance minister. So we have right. That was the finance minister. That was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That's right. It was the finance minister that came out and said that they won't ban it. However, you have the finance minister saying one thing, and then you have other elements within the government. Now, the other elements within the government in India are definitely being controlled, dictated, or what have you. Their arm twisted by the RBI. Now, all of this is so vitally critical, mainly because, again, what's happening over here in the case with the SEC v. Ripple, we see, what's being orchestrated and what's going on over in, I can't believe I can't even send signal messages right now. I don't know what's going on with that. So there's just so much going on. So White Fly, what is up? Good to see you on. What else we got? Chip is sending me text messages. He's trying to hack into his neighbor's internet. Exactly. Another example of the old elites trying to save their dinosaur fraudulent system. Hey, since you guys are in, we got 200 in. I know there's so much going on now. There's so many other things to do out there. You guys are hanging out with us every night, every evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here. Why don't you guys give another shout out, a round of shout outs where you guys are tuning in from would be awesome. And then also, if you guys can do this, if you're brand new and this is the first time that you've been on a live stream here on the chain, why don't you go down, look for the on the chain button, the on the chain subscribe button. Look for the subscribe button. It is a red button, it says subscribe on it. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Do us another favor, hit the thumbs up. All of that stuff helps the algorithms within the YouTube internet sphere. So totally appreciate that. If you guys could do that, that'd be awesome. Let's see. Michael Otto, Chip keeps buying coins and not paying the electric bill. I don't know if it's the electric bill. I think it's more the cable bill. That's the problem. Johnny, never mind. The U.S. and India are corrupt as hell and trying to hold on to their old corrupt systems. I think you have a lot of tension between the old guard and the new guard that's rising up right now within the digital asset space. Obviously, they're going to try to fight back. So, man, look at this. We got people, bouncing in from all over the place. We got the UK. We got Sammer coming in from Dubai. Great country, great place, man. I love visiting over in Dubai. Really, really great place. So let's see what else we have here. I like that. Alex Yeet, hit the damn switch and send XRP to the moon. That's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the switch. Is there a magic switch? That's what we want to know. So we've got Laurel coming in from the Bahamas, watching all the on the chain all the time. Good job. Appreciate that. Now, is it the Bahamas or Bermuda that has the sand dollar? I believe it was Bermuda, but I thought that the Bahamas was also orchestrating something within the digital asset space. So, man, what wooden boat is on his boat in a lake in Ontario? Man, isn't it? It's pretty cold. Good place to be, though. But you know what? When I was living in Michigan, I would sail, and a buddy of mine had a really nice sailboat, and we put the boat in the water. It would probably be right around this time, March, April timeline. Be out there with jackets and hats, out there sailing on the lake. Oh, it was awesome. It's phenomenal. Anyhow, all right. So let's go. Let's try to move beyond the whole India thing. I thought that this was interesting. I think there's, a lot of things that are developing within the space, a lot of the different exchanges. One of them, BitTrue is making, some changes here. Oh yeah. The Bahama does have the sand dollar. That's right. It was the Bahamas. That's what I thought. So that's amazing. I mean, living in a place that has a digital asset, central bank digital currency. They have a digital currency that they're orchestrating over the Bahamas. I think that's phenomenal when you have like a real world use case right over there. So, all right, let's see. Let's add this over. Let's add, how come it's not going up to the stream? There we go. BitTrue will be a Flare Networks data provider. So that's crazy. So BitTrue will be a Flare Networks data provider. What does that mean? Well, they want to continue supporting the ecosystem. They're the first exchange to actually do this. We're very honored to be the first exchange to make such an announcement, as it is part of our core ethos to give back to the community and projects that are working alongside us to advance the cryptocurrency industry. What does it mean? That they will frequently be sending price data of coins available on BitTrue to Flare. That's great. This data, when combined with information coming from other data providers, can then be used in the Flare time series oracle or the FTSO to assess the price of any coin at a particular time. Both Flare holders and F asset holders will be able to delegate their FTSO votes to BitTrue. So a lot going in this space. Amazing that, that this is all happening. I mean, it really amazes me when you see this. Why? Because Flare, working with the XRPL, working with Ethereum, true interoperability, building something in the space that is game changing. And then you have exchanges that are also then participating in this game changing solution. I mean, it's really amazing when we see, all of this coming together. And, I think it's great. I think it's outstanding to see, when exchanges are actually getting actively involved in the development of this space, really, really key. So that is interesting information as far as I'm concerned. I think they're definitely going. What else did we put in here? Is there anything like really, really, key that, would be interesting to pull up other than, maybe we can get in and talk about, some stocks as well, because there's a lot going in the stock space today. Hang on. Let me move this over here. Zinfin. This is really cool. So Zinfin, or as we know, their digital asset, XDC. How do I share this again? Here we go. As we know, their digital asset XDC, but check this out. Zinfin collaborates with Vinter to launch regulated XDC index. So, I mean, another one building and developing. So their focus here, as we see all this movement, initially, the movement was, hey, let's list Bitcoin, let's get XRP, let's get Litecoin, let's get all these other assets out there. But now we're seeing more and more movement of these assets into traditional financial type structures. So you have the old guard with the old, financial asset, and then you have the new guard with the new financial asset, but they're wrapping them in the similar types of investment type vehicles. It's really outstanding. I mean, everything. We're at this juncture right now where we're moving from proof of concept, which is, can the digital asset actually survive? Can we get mainstream attention on a digital asset? Amazing, right? So initially was, can you get attention on a Bitcoin? Can you get attention on an XRP? Now it's, can you take all of this and wrap it into a financial solution that's going to be here, for years to come? And this is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing this change. It's such a shift. I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, every time I open up an article like this and I look at it, you're looking at these new solutions. Now, I don't know, a year from now, maybe, Zinfin closes up shop, doesn't exist anymore. Maybe another one pops in to take its place. I don't know. I mean, if you go back to the 90s and leading up to the bubble burst in the high tech space, there are a lot of high tech companies that just aren't around anymore. But what you have to ask yourself is how many people over the history have had multiple opportunities to see world-changing technology occur multiple times in their lifetime. Think about it. If you've been around and you were there in the 80s and you saw the hardware boom, and you saw, Microsoft and Apple battling it out for the PC domination that continued into the 90s. And then, obviously it kept going, but then you go into the 90s and you see the .com boom, and you have an opportunity on the hardware, then you had an opportunity on software, and then you had an opportunity on the .com, on the internet, and you saw the internet come into being. And then just when you thought that's it, there can't be any more than the internet, what more could you possibly offer the world than the internet? And then all of a sudden, blockchain and cryptocurrency and the digital asset and the movement from brick and mortar to online, and the old guard being swapped out for a new guard, I mean, how many chances do you get in a lifetime to see these things happen? Now, you might have just been born in the 80s. You might have been born in the 70s. You might have been born in the 90s. And maybe you weren't old enough to have participated economically in the investment in these vehicles during that period of time, but you grew up with it. You lived through it. Now, this opportunity again being presented for those that have lived through it multiple times, and for anyone who's lived through it multiple times and then ignored it. I mean, God forbid. Could you imagine? I mean, there's people in the investment space that a couple years ago looked at blockchain and they looked at Bitcoin and they said, no, it's not going to survive. Those that went through the 90s, that came out of the 90s potentially as investment powerhouses, then look at blockchain and say, no, blockchain won't survive, when the dot-com era was insane, because anything that had a dot-com after it, they just shoved money in people's faces, regardless of whether or not there was a product or there was a viable solution or whatever it was a dot-com, then it had to be successful. And, obviously we saw how that worked out, but the dot-com's still here, the dot-com era, and it's grown up into something amazing, to where now we've had a year where people have had to live and work out of their homes predominantly, and somehow people have managed to do it. Obviously, we become a cell phone society where you can live and breathe on a cell phone. You can work on your cell phone no matter where you are. You've got your email, you've got your phone, you've got the internet. You could survive just with a phone. However, people working out of the house. So what do? They take, think about, you had WebEx and you had the go-to meetings and you had all that stuff. And that was like, people looked at that and you would do a WebEx and people were like, oh my God, they're doing a WebEx. But God forbid you share your camera on a WebEx. Now, all of a sudden, the world shuts down and Zoom comes into being and Zoom pops up. And now all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God, you got to share your camera. So a year prior, when you were on a go-to meeting, God forbid if anyone turned their camera on a go-to meeting, it was only meant for sharing your screen and maybe talking on the phone. And that was about it. And then Zoom comes into being and it changes the way people are orchestrating and doing business, bringing people closer together. Just like blockchain is changing the financial fundamentals, the economics of the world, because a year ago, countries weren't really emphasizing or focused on the digital currency rollout. They were looking at it, they were investigating it. Why? Because of the digital asset cryptocurrency space. Fundamentally is changing the way countries are operating with one another and operating from within. And now they're also then realizing, India, China, the US, whatever, it doesn't matter what country you go to, but they're realizing that the digital asset space, the crypto space, is decentralized, meaning that, hey, you know what, we're losing a specific percentage of control, but who really is giving the pushback? Is it the government losing it, or is it the lobbyists that are lobbying the government, the politicians, saying, hey, by the way, we're the banks and the financial institutions, we're losing control. We're the ones that are losing the brick and mortars. We're the ones that are losing that control mechanism of how we dictate, the ebb and flow of money. Because now within the crypto space, which is amazing to me, people can become successful just like in the dot-com era. It's allowing people to build. And I've talked about this so many times. I've reiterated it so many times. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. And you kind of get off on a tangent as you start thinking about it and you talk about it, but it's amazing. Now, check this out. You've got Professor X. His first computer was a Radio Shack TRS-80. There's probably people that are listening to this chat, if you're in the US, that never heard of Radio Shack or never walked into a Radio Shack, because Radio Shack is gone, doesn't exist anymore. But could you imagine that? I mean, globally. Now, here's one. Everybody around the world probably knows the Commodore 64. That was my first computer. I remember getting one back in it was 1984, probably 84, 85. I got a Commodore 64. That was like the greatest thing ever. And you could plug it in to your TV, and then you had some games. And the first, I didn't even have a disc drive. They had the was it the 3.5 inch, or was it the five? What was it? The big floppies. They're like this big. It was probably a 5 inch or 5.5 inch floppy disk, and you put it into your disk drive. And that was crazy. But before that, I had a cassette tape, and in order to save anything, you had your games or your programs. I had it on a cassette tape, and I had to look at the counter and write down the counter where the next program started. Think about where computers came from and where it's going now with everything. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hell yeah, look at that. The mullet, it. It's crazy, right? I mean, it's amazing. Kimmy had a Commodore. There you go. And then we had what is this? Chris, I used the Commodore 32 cassette tapes. Then they came out with a Commodore 128, right? The Atari, who had an Atari back in the day. Think about the technology. I mean, it's unreal. Kung Fu Master on the Commodore 64. Think about, I mean, it's unreal, right? Text-based games that came out, right? I mean, it's crazy. and you went through that era, right? And you go into the 90s, and maybe you're too young, and the boom is happening. And now we have this opportunity to see technology developing at such a rapid rate. It's unbelievable. I'm looking over here at what's going on with Zinfin, and we're talking about all this stuff, and it's happening so fast. I mean, just a couple years ago, I get into the digital asset space in 2017, and who knew, right? You're starting to experiment and invest, and you're looking at, Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP, and you're getting into all this stuff, but who knew where it was going? When you first get in, and there's people coming into this space today, and they're like, what in the world are you guys doing? What is this about the Bitcoin? Right? And they don't know about all this stuff. I've been helping a good friend of mine put money into digital asset for the first time. Now, on Saturday, we're sitting, I'm helping him move money around. And he goes, it wasn't that long ago. We're sitting out on my patio by the pool, and you're telling me we're talking about Bitcoin and XRP, and Bitcoin was 20,000. And granted, over a period of over a year or so, I've been telling them about digital asset. For the most part, I keep fairly quiet with people that I know. I tell them, hey, I invest in digital asset. All this stuff. I don't try to, move them in a specific direction. I don't say anything. Hey, when you're ready to invest, you're ready to invest. But now it's just like I'm sitting here with a friend of mine, and I'm helping him, and guiding him. And I open his eyes to things like this. I'm like, here you are, you're investing for the first time, but the financial system is changing. All of this stuff is being orchestrated as we speak. You can get, if you take your money, put it into USDC and put it on Celsius, you can get 10.5% on a stable coin, which is better than any percent that you're going to get in any other bank. So if you're in cash and you're not putting it into stock, it's just sitting in your bank getting what, 0.5% if you're lucky. But if you want to stay relatively liquid, hey, you put it over here, put it over into USDC, and you can put it onto Celsius. 10.5% is insane annual return. Think about that. Think about, what you can get. I mean, it's mind-boggling, right? And then you start putting it in, you start dabbling into the cryptocurrency space. If you're in other parts of the world, hey, you love that, man. Look at that. Look at that penguin shirt. It's one of the best. You got to love the penguin shirts. I mean, it's it's crazy. There's man, but that shirt's got to go. You know what's crazy about this shirt? You wouldn't believe it. But these are it doesn't actually glitter. So it's actually glittering mainly because of the lighting. But the shirt itself, these are actually yellow tennis balls that build this penguin, and it does not glitter at all. So it glitters on the camera for some reason, but not in real life. So it's a camera only glitter. So, but it is penguin. So I don't know. It's hilarious though. And I do not I do not have the matching pants. So it's hilarious. But yeah, man, and it's crazy too, all the stuff that's happening. And you look at over in New York, and New York's being handcuffed. New York, I mean, it's insane, what's going on over there, right? Man, think back. I'm looking at all the feedback you guys are giving. Man, Atari Tennis, Pac-Man. Who remembers the first time they played Pac-Man? I mean, that's crazy, right? I can remember, I was living overseas, and in our apartment building, there was a small strip center over there with some stores. And out in front of one of the stores, they put a Pac-Man game, and it was so crazy. And everybody would go and gather in front of the Pac-Man game to play Pac-Man. And yeah, man, it's crazy. So lots of stuff, man. Lots of crazy things here, man. The penguin shirt NFT. I should NFT the penguin shirt. That'd be great. That'd be a great idea. NFT the shirt. The glittery penguin shirt show. So, all right, this was awesome. Hey, if you guys are new here, we had 200 plus in the stream today. We're growing and building this thing up. There's a lot going on. We want to make sure that everybody also gets a chance to take part in our virtual meetup. Man, you got to get over to the virtual meetup March 28th, right? March 28th at 9 a.m. We are going to be doing another number 2 on the chain sponsored virtual meetup. We got this software. It's outstanding. Something you guys definitely got to participate in. If you go into the description below, scroll down into the description, and you'll find a link to register for the virtual meetup. That's going to take place on March 28th. And also then make sure that if you're brand new here right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification. That way you get notified every time we go live. There's something going on this other screen here that's consuming resources every so often. Man, I went onto a website today, and I was trying to get some information off of this website, and it was so crazy in whoa, what's going on here? Holy cow. The chat's going like nuts over here. I don't know why the chat's so crazy. There we go. It's finally slowing down. Holy cow. So anyhow, hopefully you guys subscribe to that. Tomorrow night is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys log in. Come and visit us again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday is St. Patrick's Day. So a quick toast to anybody that's over in Ireland or anybody that's celebrating St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday, an early toast. Grab your whiskey and sláinte. That's to everybody. I'll look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Legendary just threw up the link. And like I said, it is in the description below. And we'll check you guys out again right here on the chain. Where's the out? Where's the out? If I can't find the out, then we're here. That's it. We're going to be on for another hour. So with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. We're out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.